Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. Today's the 29th. It's a big day. I think there's been some really good news, and I think that we're going to just dig into it. So thank you for being with us here at Militia Man and Crew at patreon.com/MM&C. So thank you everybody. Here's an article that says the successful strategic policies of al-Sudani's government constituted a qualitative shift in the development of international and regional relations. I like qualitative because that means it's a good shift, and it's development of international and regional relations. And I think you'll probably see a theme in the news as of yesterday and today that that's definitely happening. It's awesome. The Secretary General of the Generations Gathering with Muhammad Shia al-Sudani considered that the successful strategic policies of al-Sudani's government constituted a qualitative shift in the development of international and regional relations. It says Iraq's diplomacy has proven its worth and entitlement to move Iraq from the stage of decline from the past and flabbiness to the stage of a leadership position and pioneering and strengthening and developing international and regional Arab relations and investing them in ways that serve the public interest of the country. So a qualitative shift is where Iraq is at this point with international entities. And here's this by the Prime Minister. It says that the government is committed to diversifying the economy and eliminating the monopoly of rents. So they're going to move from oil to oil, gas, non-oil revenue streams. We've talked about that numerous times. It says, he points out, Iraq's global position is now gaining a brighter image in economic growth and reforms and increasing levels of cooperation in all energy forums. And Iraq has become a fundamental pillar in stability of the global oil market. It's fascinating. And it is on the way to becoming a regional center for energy industries. And Iraq contributes to the stability of the global oil market by relying on strong and solid economy. They're pushing forward. That's what they're doing. It's really kind of exciting to see how much progress Iraq has made in the last 2 years and the effects that it's having on a global scale. Al-Hassan, okay, it says al-Sudani strengthened the energy vision with tangible proposals for cooperation and partnership between the public and the private sectors. He says, I'm honored to be with you today to discuss the transition to sustainable energy, which is a critical issue facing Iraq and the world. He goes on to say, Iraq's transition to using clean energy is not only limited to mitigating the effects of climate change, but is a catalyst for innovation, creating new energies, new industries, and opening up economic opportunities. They're probably going to be opening up economic opportunities again for the international and regional and local people. So it's pretty fascinating. It says that the President Latif Jamal Rashid, during his participation in the Davos conference just recently, renewed Iraq's commitment to reducing gas flaring by 2028. And improving air quality, which is clear evidence of Iraq's determination to take measures. He goes on and stresses that these initiatives represent pivotal steps towards building a sustainable and resilient future for Iraq. It goes on and continues and says that the international cooperation and private sector participation are vital to achieving this transformative agenda that the government plan has. Al-Sudani has been having one achievement after the other, and the results are just out there for everybody to see. It's like if you can't see it now, it's like, man, well, just do more digging, okay? You can do that at Patreon and in our Discord chat room. You'll be amazed. Okay, so it says yesterday, the planning minister Al-Tamim discussed with the World Bank Vice President for the Middle East and North Africa on a number of development issues and financing strategic projects. The World Bank's not going to be involved if there's not money, as far as I can tell. I think you guys would probably agree with me. But anyway, he explains that during the meeting, aspects of joint cooperation between Iraq and the World Bank were discussed and ways to enhance it to serve the development process in Iraq. So they're there to do what they do. It says the two sides discussed the possibility of the World Bank financing a number of strategic projects that serve development in Iraq and achieve the desired economic diversification, including the railway link project between Iraq and Turkey within the Development Road project, as well as the electrical link project with neighboring countries, especially with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the state of Kuwait, in addition to discussing cooperation in the field of highway projects, water management, and the development and expansion of Baghdad International Airport. See what I mean? The World Bank's got its hand in the key components of rebuilding Iraq. It says the vice president of the World Bank stressed that Iraq is a priority within their future plans, expressing readiness in support to strategic projects in various development sectors. You know, the World Bank's been around with Iraq since, as far as I know, probably since 2003. So they've been around for a long time, and that's what we're seeing is the plan that they've been working on for all those years. So everybody that's been involved in this for 20 years plus, well, there's some evidence that, hey, they're still hard at it, and it's coming to fruition. It says the government of the Central Bank of Ali Alaq, the governor of the Central Bank, Al-Alaq, sorry you guys. It says the imminent launch of an initiative to finance industrial projects, while pointing out that the financial stability is no less important than political and security instability. So effectively, we have relative political stability, but we do have security. And if you guys notice that, it doesn't look like the United States is going to go anywhere soon. They effectively have a strategic program that they're working on, and I think all know that the United States isn't leaving. And when we're going to talk about a few of those companies and the reasons why, the United States protects their interests, and if their interests are in Iraq, they're going to have protection. And interestingly enough, their allies are going to have the same interests taken care of. One article that I didn't put in tonight, but I want to, since I remembered it now, is that if you guys remember back in 2024, early and throughout 2024, you see that Japan has a huge interest in development of new technologies, 5G, that stuff. Well, remember that they have sovereign guarantees for that investment. And if you guys on a global scale realize that Japan has been in some, financial troubles, etc. So what they have done is set up a situation where they can be, I guess, involved in some of the construction. So of course it'll be revenue streams for not only Iraq, but for Japan as well. And those sovereign guarantees were a key component. So they are definitely involved. And there's an article out today about Japan and Iraq, or within the last 10 days. And that's big because the U.S. Treasury put out, and we have that in Patreon, a statement by Scott Bessent. He's the new Secretary of Treasury. They had meetings with Japan and his support for Japan, not only for the Indochina Pacific region, but also around the world. And by them saying that, without saying it, that would be probably inclusive based off the information that we've had from last year and present, so that Japan's part of it. So what we're seeing is a collective of many countries. Europe, we're seeing. There's another big entity that was out today, but I'll probably run across it tonight and share that. But it's all internationalism. I think it's a Dutch companies, and so they're involved. So, but we'll see. Okay, it says the government of the Central Bank Ali Alaq. It says the imminent launch of an initiative to finance industrial projects, while pointing out that the financial stability is no less important. Like I mentioned, the initiatives undertaken by the central bank represent tools to move the wheel of development and enhance economic stimulus, and they are unconventional policies aimed at supporting the overall economy. So they're doing things a little bit different than just regular conventional. They got unconventional policies. It says the central bank is one of the global banking institutions. The central bank is one of the global banking institutions that adopts unconventional monetary policies. So the central bank is concerned with achieving economic stability, especially since energy factors are directly linked to the economic situation by supporting factories, companies, and others. The central bank intervenes in supporting and financing various projects, including renewable energy projects, whether through direct or indirect support. Again, like to Japan, indirect support, sovereign guarantees. And so the importance of monetary financial stability, indicating that it's no less important, again, the political and security stability. So there are ongoing trade arrangements between financial industrial projects in a coordination with the Iraq Trade Bank of Iraq and the Industrial Bank, indicating that the liquidity available at the Trade Bank of Iraq will be used to support these projects, in addition to the funds of the Industrial Bank. What's the aim? Well, they're going to say the aim is for launching a major initiative to finance industrial projects, which is expected to see the light soon. It says the Council of Ministers has agreed to enhance cooperation between the government banks with financial surplus to finance industrial projects through those banks, and it is the competent authority in this field. The imminent launch, which is what? It's the imminent launch of this major initiative. Those are pretty powerful words. I mean, that says that they're going to do it whether we like it or not. I don't mind. I think the central bank governor is definitely focused. So take a look at that article today. In Patreon, I have my opinions on most all these articles that you hear tonight. I don't have time tonight, unfortunately, to get into every single one because I've got quite a bit of stuff to go into, but you can find it all in patreon.com, as you know. Iraq on the threshold of an economic renaissance. I like that. Economic renaissance, something new. Al-Sudani's advisors reveals the plans for the next stage. He goes on and says, his advisor, Mohammed Saleh, and he's definitely a reputable source. He says Iraq has high economic capabilities, as witnessed a cohesion between renaissance and infrastructure on the one hand, and strategic development thinking on the other hand. Most notably, the development road path, right? The thinking is, on the other hand, most notably that path that will attract local and international investments in addition to the effective government contribution, which will constitute an unprecedented renaissance in the country, especially in the residential, construction sector, new cities that have launched their projects and will not stop. I love that. And they are the best way to economic prosperity on the one hand and raise the level of raise the level of employment, forgive me, in the country on the other hand. All right, so it says here, Iraq also enjoys unprecedented price stability, as the annual growth rate did not exceed 2.9% compared to a 6% increase in their GDP growth. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. It says the development of steady pace allows for the governance that they are witnessing a remarkable progress. By the way, it says the launch will come through diversifying the industrial sector, both for private and governmental, with a focus on moving from crude oil production to petroleum derivatives production and the petrochemical industry. There's going to be a lot additional revenues. He stressed that Iraq is the 9th country in the world in terms of natural resources. We all know that Iraq's got a lot. As its lands contain more than 16 trillion US dollars worth of these resources in terms of market value. $16 trillion in assets. That's insane. Okay, noting that investing in these natural resources and manufacturing them will increase their added value several times, whether for the purposes of national industries or for export. Remember we talked about inputs and outputs, how they're going to benefit from both? That's what they're talking about. It's very big. It's a lot of money, you folks. A lot of money. It says, Soleil says that the financing strategy includes industrial projects on 5 levels, most of which are projects related to construction and the housing of those related development roadworks. Okay. Then pharmaceutical industries, with a focus on the government's economic philosophy based on a partnership between the state and the market with broad security. This vision moves away from economic liberalism and its risks. So it looks like the Riyadh Bank was established to help support those and provide small and medium-sized loans to young people. And that initiative, it sounds like it's geared for the youth of the country, as they're about 60% of the workforce. So all these things that you're hearing are part of that plan and the project for Iraq to move forward, and we're watching it happen now, I think. He says that this article says, our relationship with America will become stronger with an initiative that al-Sudani will announce soon. And these are just expectations of his advisor, a guy by the name of Farad Allah al-Din, and he's an advisor for foreign affairs. He says the business landscape in the country has already changed. He also said that the projects allocated to American companies in the coming years estimated at tens of billions of dollars, while he expected Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani to announce a pioneering financial initiative that he said could change the business landscape in Iraq and strengthen its relationship with the United States. This is a long read, but I would suggest everybody get familiar with it because it's definitely lengthy. It's quite a few pages, but ultimately, what do they stress? They stress that they have a strong cooperation between Iraq and the United States, and that's back to that security. The United States forces aren't leaving anytime soon, likely not the UK, etc. But anyway, under the Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, he has what he says is Iraq First policy that they have adopted. Okay, and he says it's an inclusive approach that prioritizes shared interests, and that would include he has to prioritize those interests. So it says the strong and thriving U.S.-Iraq relationship promotes stability and prosperity in the region. It says, but the U.S.-Iraq relationship extends beyond military and security cooperation, encompassing sectors as diverse as energy, and then again, agricultural, education, and economic development. Al-Sudani is currently leading Iraq through an ambitious reconstruction effort with funding exceeding any allocation in the past 2 decades. Here we go, you guys, for the U.S. interests. ExxonMobil, Chevron, General Electric, Baker Hughes, KBR, Halliburton. Okay, all of these companies could be worth tens of billions over the next few years. And he goes on and says the financial institutions, including the Export-Import Bank and the International Monetary Fund, have expressed interest in supporting these efforts. So they got support. They got global support. It's wonderful. It says, notably, the Prime Minister is expected to announce a major financial initiative that could change the business landscape in Iraq and further strengthen its relationship with the United States. Really? I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen. Definitely. It says American companies are increasingly drawn to Iraq as evidenced by the growing activities of the U.S.-Iraq Business Council, while the events of the American Chamber of Commerce in Iraq now attract more American business than ever before. And lastly, it says after the new administration took office on January 20th, the Prime Minister said that Iraq is ready to cooperate with that new administration that we have here in the U.S. And here's a snippet. It says, Iraq's political leaders will meet in Baghdad tonight, the residence of the Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani, to discuss amendments to the budget law, the general budget law, and that was tonight, and that's already done. But anyway, the meeting will bring together the Speaker of the Parliament, lawmakers, and representatives from the Shia, the Sunni and the Kurdish factions, the news reports suggest. So that's another fascinating thing. A major announcement coming. Can't imagine what that's going to be. It's going to be about, well, according to that, it's going to be about an initiative. What's it going to take? I don't think they have an initiative that's going to support all those companies and benefit all those companies that are with that an exchange rate of 13.10. I think they'll have a real effective exchange rate. And I would like to think that our study has been really quality and shows that the relationship between what they were talking about tonight, about the general budget law, is a very key component that we have to pay attention to. And hopefully we'll find the results out any time now from what happened today, and then we'll see what happens for tomorrow and over the weekend. We'll see what they say. Our relationship with America will become stronger with an initiative, talking about kind of like what they just talked about. Al-Sudani will announce soon, so they reiterate it. It says the business landscape in the country has changed. And again, this one goes on and reiterates about Exxon and all those different companies. It's a lengthy read as well, so I'm not going to keep going over all of it, but let's put it this way. They have a strong and thriving U.S. relationship that promotes the stability in the region. The U.S. again extends beyond the military. And again, they reiterate that this has been ongoing for decades, 2 decades at least. So that's interesting stuff. Minister of Finance of Iraq provides an attractive investment environment based on advanced infrastructure. It goes on and says Iraq provides an attractive investment based on advanced infrastructure, referring to the opportunities available to foreign investors, especially in the banking and energy and manufacturing. Well, I think that's pretty obvious that we've talked about it already. And they're stressing the readiness of even Czech companies, that's the country, to invest in the Iraqi market, especially in the fields of technology and industry. So the finance minister has been hard at it, Taif Sami herself. And then here's one where it says Sudani's meeting with the leaders of the parliamentary factions has ended. So that meeting tonight has ended. They were talking about what? The amendment to the 2024 budget. I believe that, well, there's amendments, but it is a tripartite budget, and I think that they have to have 23 and 24 final accounts, which will probably take into consideration that amendment, but I would assume that that amendment is critical because they've been keeping it really tight to the chest. And for him to be at his home or his palace, wherever you want to call it, to have all these guests. They got the Kurdistan Workers' Party faction in the Iraqi parliament, said that the general understanding was reached in the meeting with the leaders of the factions in the parliament to pass the amendment to the budget law on the resumption of oil exports from Turkey through Turkey. So anyway, it says, according to the standing between the Kurdish and Sunni and Shia factions, they suggest that 200 ministers of parliament are expected to vote on the amendment next Sunday. That's in a couple of days. And therefore, you know, if that amendment needs to be exposed, they're probably not going to leak that out. They're probably going to keep it pretty tight to the chest prior to. Okay? So that's a big deal. You know, one of the things that I don't have it with me tonight, but I did get some information from the guy. His name is Hafid, and he's a Saudi Arabia citizen, but he works in Saudi Arabia, but he's also a citizen of the UK. And he has a lot of helpful information because he has some good friends that are he went to college with. He's an IT guy. Anyway, he gave us some really good information in Patreon. And I would suggest if you guys are members, that if you haven't seen it, you might scroll back and find that, because it's kind of a story about the people on the street and what they've been taught. A lot of people think that Iraq doesn't understand, and the elders don't understand about electronic payments. They don't understand about what's going on. They absolutely do. And there's evidence of that, and that's real data, and it's coming from a real source. And one of the things that he liked about us is that Patreon, we have integrity. We try to keep to the news the best we can. If we make an error, we try to write that, and that's why I think that I've got a really good following, and I think that you guys appreciate that. especially when you see the numbers on my YouTube channel. I got 99% likes, I think, on average. And that's for 2 years. So again, that integrity, and that's one of the things he says he likes about me, and he says I roll the same way, and he doesn't like the fluff. He likes to get the real data as best as he can, and that's why he's sticking with us. Okay, so it's good information. So check that out. So anyway, this article talks about al-Sudanese and need of the House of Representatives to approve the amendment to the budget law without change. According to the statement, the meeting witnessed a review of the progress of the implementation of the government program and the importance of supporting government steps in completing services, economic projects that have direct contact with the citizens' lives. That's all he's been about, and that's even goes to as high as, if we haven't heard from him, al-Sadr. He's been all about the people. Notice he's been pretty quiet. Al-Sistani, the Grand Ayatollah, he is also same, all for the supreme needs of the country. So based on the role of the federal general budget law as a fundamental pillar for implementing the obligations contained in the government program, and in a manner that takes into account the supreme national interest. It says that latest amendment submitted by the government to the law was discussed as the Prime Minister confirms his commitment to this text that addresses the issue of the cost of producing a barrel of oil. It goes on and tells you that when it was done, the ministers in the 45th session on November 5th confirmed a letter of the government representative in the House of Representatives, and it says that on January 23rd, which was a few days ago, which is the same text that was voted on within the Parliament Finance Committee. So nothing changed on that amendment, and they had that on their docket tonight at al-Sudani's house. And it says the government text said to amend the federal budget law, and it was emphasized that the government's plans and programs should be supported in a manner that achieves the supreme interest of Iraqis everywhere. That doesn't mean just Iraq. That means wherever they are, they're going to have their interests included. So really, thank you very much for being with me tonight. I'll finish that out. And look, I think at the end of the day, that data speaks for itself. We can tell that this weekend, if you will, is going to be a very interesting time frame for us, but it's really kind of a critical time for, as they even use the word crucial in part of one of those articles. They definitely have a critical time as far as I'm concerned. That's my word. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and hey, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you like the content, and again, for all your support and help, it's been much appreciated, and every little bit counts. We have PayPal, Zelle, and Venmo, and thanks again. Enjoy your night. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content, subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.